it's fantastic.
Yes, and look, you're right, the social benefits, the nature, the wetlands, the mitigating, miranding nature of the stream, the cycle paths attached to it, there's massive benefits, but yeah,
And the
all
jobs.
the details. Yes, and the jobs, yeah, true. Yep.
Thank you. Councillor Penrose.
Oh yeah, thanks Madam Chair, and thanks gentlemen for the report, and I'm happy to move it, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I think it's a damn good report, and I like to hear that they're good results, but we're always room to improvement. I think it's always a good thing. But I just want to touch on a couple of things. One is around, of course, it's been in the media of late, and that's around our building section and regulatory, and particularly our regulatory area, i.e. resourcing. And often we hear that councils failing, or councils not responding quick enough, or we make things too complicated, and the likes, reflecting on the timeframes around building consents. And I have to say, under Dean Kimpton and Ian's leadership in regards to the building section, the certain in regards to always challenging the organisation as to how we could do better. But you know, as we know, we're in difficult constraints. The region's going off, as I mentioned before, like a firecracker. But I would hate to be one where we take shortcuts and drop the ball. And we've seen that in years gone by when we've had the leaking homes. And coming from a Pabakura District Council days, when we had 4 in our patch, you know, and to me it's about making sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And if we start dropping the ball, in my view, all we're going to do is end up with problems in decades to come. So, whilst there's always room for improvement, I'm sure Ian McCormick's always looking for that, and I just want to acknowledge that. And also in Smallburn in regards to our resource area. But it's always difficult too, I suppose, when, Madam Chair, when we have 23 different platforms we're working off across the region, as I mentioned before. But often I watch this one pretty closely because it's you know, an area I'm concerned about. But when council asks for more information, there's always a genuine reason for that. And I've seen some of the applications, and some of the applications, in my view, are pretty poor. And some might ask the question, you know, do we go too far? Are we going into too much detail? Well, I suppose that's something that we need to keep looking at. So good work in that area. I just want to touch on the inorganic, following Councillor Casey there. We always knew this was going to be a challenging one because it's a new entity. It's a whole new process altogether. And it'll take, like the new council, a wee while to embed and settle down. But I just want to acknowledge the call centre. There's been some huge changes happen within that, how we handle it, how we deal with it. I know online it's a lot easier to do as opposed to going through the call centre. But I don't think we should be beating ourselves up over this one, because no matter what we do, people always say they didn't get it in the mailbox, or they didn't hear about it, they didn't read about it. And I've said this before around this table. It's always difficult to get that message out there. And I want to acknowledge Ian Stupple and Prue on this one. They've done some outstanding work on trying to mitigate and deal with issues moving forward. And I'm sure this time next year, Madam Chair, we'll be in a better position, or whoever's around this table this time next year, we'll see some significant changes. So again, don't beat ourselves up over it. I think we're in a good position. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you know that? That's your question.
Probably, Nigel, to you. People booking halls online. We did talk about the ability for someone to go into a service centre or a library, help to do these things, because I've had a few feedbacks where it, you know, particularly if you're in an area where broadband isn't very good, lots of the outlying areas don't have it.
Yes.
Older people, not just older people, but some people aren't as au fait with the internet as we are. Are we offering that? Because I know that I've had with people saying they spend ages trying to do it.
Yes, Madam Chair, we are. I'm now part of a virtual team in community services.
Right.
Now that Ian Maxwell is looking after the wider community services area, and it's a piece of work that we're looking at right now to integrate our service centre and library offerings, so that we do move to assisted and assisting a lot of our constituents, because you're right, people do come in and sometimes it's helping them move to those digital self-service channels. So that is definitely part of that work that we're doing right now. And it is part of our service centre strategy as well, to move away from the transactional, but help people and assist people to move them into self-service as well.
Okay, thanks, great. Councillor Watson.
Thank you. I'd just like to congratulate the officers that put together this report. It's incredibly comprehensive and revealing. And my question is to whether any of the other individuals in council who, political leaders or communication staff have access to this information, because as I was going home last night, I heard the council being berated in the media over its failings in terms of providing housing. I look at figures here, special housing areas, 154, approved 55,000 potential sites, sites and dwellings. You look at the building consent, you look at the net migration. So the latest person, joining the Free Punch Brigade, I understand he's the spokesperson on Auckland for the Labour Party, was talking about, haven't heard him too often in the last 3 years, talking about councils should be expanding the rural-urban boundary and taking out bonds to pay for the infrastructure. So I just say, in terms of the excellent material that's here that goes to what the council is doing, I just would hope that some of the people that presumably respond to these sort of accusations and statements that are coming fast and furious utilise some of the information that's been so impressively put together. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Crum. Good points.
Thanks. Echo to those comments about the quality of the report, so thank you. Just in picking up on a comment that Councillor Penrose has made in terms of the regulatory space and staffing and the pressure due to increased volume. So in the report, it's referenced, and we can read it for ourselves, that this is the big area where the targets aren't being met. So can you just update? We've got the 3 levers there that have been undertaken, the remuneration review. It says it's complete, but what does that mean mechanically? Does that mean that salaries have been adjusted in a market capacity way? We've got the overflow contracts to Wellington and Porirua, and the 3rd lever is reallocation of staff to the pressure points. Just a quick update on those levers, all underway.
Yep. Dean actually came along last time. We had a bit of discussion around this, which, they're all underway right now. The continuing transfer of consenting files through, and there's actually discussions with other councils as well. There's another possibility there, Porirua, to actually pick up some of the overflow there too. The remuneration one, I'm not sure where that's got to. What they have done is the banding and the size of the jobs has actually been completed. Whether that actually manifests itself in any changes, I don't know. And the 3rd component piece you're referring to was the pressures around the region. That's actually just the allocation of where the actual consents are coming in to ensure there's actually staff at the front line to assist. Because as was raised by Councillor Penrose, it's the quality of what comes in quite often is actually creating the capacity issue, the resourcing need, as well as the sheer numbers. You've heard about the rejection rates for many of the consents now, where the quality of information coming in is just not up to scratch. So having people at the front line is where that reallocation of resources is assisting.
So
First point of contact, ensuring the quality is up to scratch to enable it to be processed.
Would we expect to get an update, Kevin, on the remuneration review?
Yep.
We are talking about numbers and having to meet the market?
Yep. What I can do is ask Dean to come back and report on how that whole program is working and the implications flowing through into the consent processing itself. Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Darby.
Thank you, and look, I'm delighted with this report, and thank you, Kevin. But just a brief comment, and following on from Councillor Crum on item 14 on page 87 and crossing over to item 19 on 89 regarding resource consents delivery. And I'm aware that I can see clearly that we've improved in the building consent area, and then we've got a bit of work to do in the resource consent area. Madam Chair, I'm aware, and look, we're all, our employees are our constituents as well, and I am aware of tremendous pressure on our staff in that area, and my message is just to take care of our people, that recognise they are under enormous pressure in this area in both building consents and resource consents. They're our people, they're valuable. I'm hearing morale, goes up and down in those areas. They're working to really tight statutory timeframes. They're under pressure to make decisions within those tight timeframes, and of course we expect them to be making quality, well-informed decisions. That pressure, I think, has to be recognised, and I gather it's being recognised at least in the building consent area through a remuneration review. And I think we shouldn't be shying away from the fact that, yep, you always got to be meeting the market, otherwise you are going to be engaging people that maybe, shouldn't be on your team. So I know all those people should be on our team, but I just really want to recognise and convey to the staff that at this time when the thumb goes on them, it's a place for managers to be observing the health and well-being of those people and make sure that they are entirely capable when they click on at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's probably earlier than that for most of them, that they are well supported right through their role, because it is enormous pressure. I don't think many of us realise the pressure. And I just want to make one comment about the lack of information that Kevin talks about. Somebody came to me recently and said, bang bang the table, council's not doing this, that. I said, well, show me your application. And I said, well, it's actually incomplete. You failed to tick some boxes. There are some boxes here to be ticked. And it was as simple as that. And of course it had been put on hold because some boxes hadn't been ticked and a small detail plan hadn't been included. There are some but really basic oversights of some of the applicants, which I think Kevin and his team are picking up on. But applaud the work that our people are doing in that area under one hell of a pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I know that there's some of them, and it's not helped when they read how, we're a bloated bureaucracy with too many staff, and yet, people are jumping up and down trying to get building consents through. So, mixed messages there. Councillor Cashmore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Two questions, if I may, please. The first one is around the capital delivery program. We're currently 51% behind, looking at being around 10% behind by year end. Is that realistic as an outcome?
Yeah, look, as I mentioned, usually things do pick up in the second half of the year, and they're anticipating that. Look, we have 500 million is currently estimated, as that's how far we'll get. It may be a bit optimistic, but there is a major pressure on how to deliver. Now, also got to emphasise the point here, it's not actually spending the dollars, it's actually delivering the projects. And so as you've heard previously in sessions, it's what we have, the ability of if there are funds available, we do have the prioritised work program, and so there can be some movement in the operations area between projects. So there's some of that consideration happening right now, is if there's a high priority area, and one particular project is not proceeding for consenting reasons or others, there will be some reallocation happening now that we know exactly some of the funds that are available. But look, yeah, it definitely will not be the full year budget. The 500 million is probably still a bit optimistic.
Thank you for that. The second question is to do with the food premises inspections, and we've fallen back a touch there. There was an item that the Office of the Auditor General brought to our attention last year, if I recall correctly. So there's a little bit of concern that we've fallen back again. What are we doing to rectify that? I understand the pressures there as well. I mean, we're particularly focusing on the lower graded food premises to get better compliance. So have we got a system that you are confident in that it's going to deliver an improved outcome?
Yeah, no, there was. As a result of last year's findings, there was a change to the process which was actually emphasising, and it was the emphasis put on the D&E to ensure the safety aspect is where the emphasis is put. The notion between the B and A's wasn't as much of a concern, obviously because of the high standard already. So primarily the public safety concern was where they're pushing the D&E. Look, it is picking up, it is improving. It slipped a bit in the last month, but look, will it achieve target? No, but there is a major effort being put in there. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Lee.
Thank you. On page 88 of the agenda, in regard to resource consent applications, I note that only 1.7% of all consents are notified, but it is not clear of that 1.7% which are fully notified and which are limited notification. Could someone send me that information at some stage? Just going on, I won't make a comment about the very low number of proportion of notified consents, but can I just go to the next page, which is 103, and that is debt. And I note the debt owed to the council is bigger than, for 9 months. Okay, the debt for 9 months is actually more substantial than the funds to be spent from the DFA, 100 million per year. But the debt's in two categories, and the blue one obviously is rates, which tracks up and down.